My name is John Murillo. I'm the Chief Dealing Officer of B2Broker. B2Broker is a liquidity and technology provider. We're probably one of the largest wholesale LPs out there today. And essentially, I'm here to discuss a fascinating topic, which is aggregation of liquidity in this industry. I've been in this industry or in financial markets for over 20 years. So I've gone through some bumpy roads over time, one could say. Most importantly, I would like to say thank you everyone for being here now. I think the following topic brings a lot of value to some of your businesses, and it is a discussion that ultimately has a long-term benefit, which is educating yourselves on how liquidity gets distributed, how the key component of a business being liquidity, it actually gets out to you, okay? So let's get started very quickly. One piece of information that I came across, which I thought was quite valuable at this moment, is the fact that in the crypto space nowadays, perpetual futures have captured a lot of popularity over the last couple of years or so. We have seen that over time, if we just analyze some data late into 2022, 68% of the trading volume was done on crypto derivatives. And interesting enough, 62% of that volume was done on Binance. It just goes to prove that some venues have a very large appeal to a specific audience. I've been in this industry, as I said, for a very, very long time. And our company has a view. We run a model that is more or less prime brokerage, but in the crypto world. What that means in essence, and I'm just giving a diagram of what we do, is we take liquidity from the various market participants in the space. We collateralize all those accounts, and then clients who trade with us get this liquidity passed on to. Now, most of you have heard prime of prime liquidity. It's a subject for debate up to a certain extent, of course. But what we do is we facilitate access to markets by aggregating multiple LPs. In essence, you get that benefit of spread compression, of a deep order book, where large order clips essentially have the slightest or perhaps a minimum market impact. Remember, when you trade large volumes, you're consuming liquidity. Liquidity doesn't mean that it's firm at all times, and especially in the crypto world where liquidity is thinner than traditional finance. It plays a key role who you're interacting with. Counterparties like us as a liquidity vendor, essentially, we have a duty and a responsibility on choosing our partners. We have a responsibility on the technology we use to distribute that liquidity. And I'm going to come to that in a second. Don't forget, by having a counterparty that distribute liquidity across multiple venues, you have an immediate risk mitigation. If we just go back to the unfortunate situation of 2022, I think we all have this in the back of our heads for days to come. If you just face one entity, such as FTX, you would have been in a very unfortunate situation. By dealing with vendors as us, we have a diversification across the entire space, and we have that due diligence, not just legally speaking, because anyone does due diligence on a counterparty purely on some basic criteria that legal teams have in place. But you need to know that businesses like us I take that very seriously. I analyze that business. I understand what they do to the best of my abilities before I engage into any relationship. The maturity and the experience of that counterparty plays a tremendous role into the business that you're engaging. So to have an aggregation model similar to prime of prime in traditional finance, the crypto derivatives market has become more and more mature. And obviously some faces that I recognize here today, they actually create markets for us, and ultimately we distribute that liquidity to all of you as end users. Over the course of the years, we developed probably one of the most comprehensive aggregation models that exist within the business. We use some of the best technology to date, and I've had relationships with some of these guys for over 10 years. So when you have multiple counterparties, that's not enough. That's one key of the relationship. You need to be able to aggregate and ultimately distribute that across all different connectivity points. Whether you are a white label user, whether you're just an algo, whether, there's different types of businesses out there. Regardless of what your needs are, businesses like ours are in a privileged position to support that type of trading activity through our own due diligence over the years. Here's a fantastic slide, I call it, because it gives you the whole overview of the crypto derivatives world, which in my opinion has become more and more popular over time. As always, on my side, and I think yourselves as potential business owners or anyone who's interested in starting their own business, when you assess that counterparty, when you assess that liquidity provider, you always want to look at what sort of business model you're going to interact with. I'll give you an example. Our company, B2Broker, has from day one initiated their operations on an agency model business, which means we don't internalize flow. We pass that on to the makers. The makers being those market makers, exchanges, etc., who make markets professionally. That's not our role. B2Broker prides itself in the fact that we facilitate those markets through our infrastructure. For that, there's obviously a fee, but nevertheless, you don't have a conflict of interest. I'm not a market maker for you, which means I'm already against your best interest. On the contrary, I listen to your liquidity needs. I tailor liquidity to what you truly need in order to serve your business. So when you look at companies like us, you got to always think about, do they actually have a liquidity team behind the scenes that can go and negotiate deals with the likes of ABC, without mentioning names, obviously? Do they have the capability of building a business that is reliable, that is sustainable, which means it has to be profitable? And most importantly, is it a business that is diversified? Because if you deal with a counterparty that their only line of revenue, it's liquidity, well, I'm sorry to tell you, but they're probably going to make the most out of you as a customer. Our company over the years, we've diversified into digital assets among many other products. We have an offering on digital assets processing. We provide white labels of digital assets exchanges. So among many other businesses, which means we don't depend on just one stream of revenue. Therefore, I can be more aggressive, I can be more competitive, and it's sufficient to run a diversified yet profitable operation. So when you look at a partner, at a counterparty, it goes far beyond just what you may think is the norm. And I think what happened last year is obviously a life-changing event, but companies like us, we believe in regulation. It's a good thing. Regulation, despite that it can be controversial in the crypto space, provided that we are lightly regulated, I think it brings transparency. Transparency ultimately brings credibility. And that's what everyone needs nowadays, to believe in the industry. There are participants, I know for a fact, businesses like ours, who are eager, capable to serve any of your needs. Unfortunately, seems like I'm running out of time. Wow, that was quick. Okay. I just want to take a couple of minutes to elaborate on something quite important. Our company, for those who trade on digital assets, has created a solution called Marksman. Essentially what it does is aggregate liquidity from various venues, and we call that our liquidity hub, and we distribute that to you. In a very simplistic way, and I wish I had more time to elaborate on this, this is your gateway to digital assets liquidity. Some of the deepest liquidity pools are found here because we do not restrict customers from choosing who they want to face as a counterparty. That's the level of transparency that I'm trying to elaborate on that businesses must be looking at. We support, well, the traditional players in the industry, among many others. We've been in business for several years. We have tremendous level of expertise. I wish I had more time today to elaborate on it, but it seems like, unfortunately, we ran out. If anybody wishes to discuss our solutions, we are right next door. I'll be delighted to answer any questions you may have. We're here in Barcelona for the next couple of days. Fantastic city. Thank you for having me, and have a great day.